So we have to identify or classify rather triangle DBC. So no, DBC was the last one, right? It started with this one. Okay, so this is a typical problem that you'd see on that unit assessment. Okay, so I would like put a star next to it or circle it. Okay, and make a note to yourself that that's a diagram that I would give you and ask for you to classify it by angle and by side. I do realize by angle I'd have to give you a little bit more in this, okay? Your directions were just to classify by side, okay? But be aware that it's not going to be as simple as what was for the warm-up or what was at the top of what you just did, okay? It's going to look more like this. It's a little bit tougher, okay? And I do realize that it's easier for me to do on the board. It's not the easiest diagram to read, okay? I'm going to highlight which triangle I'm looking at. So I'm first looking at ABE right here, okay? Look at the sides. Ask yourselves how many congruent sides do you have. This side is congruent to a side over here that measures 8. That means that side measures 8. Everybody understands that, right? So you have a side that measures 8, another side measures 8 radical 2, and the last side is 9. That means it has 0 congruent sides. So what would it be? That's a scalene triangle. Okay, keep going with it. Same diagram. Now I'm looking at EDB, okay? Here it is, and I think this one's pretty easy to spot, right? It's easy to spot because you got the tick marks that match, that mark the congruent sides. 2 congruent sides makes this. That's an isosceles, you got it. Okay, let's keep going. I think this is the one that's tough, okay? So you got EBC here. That's this big triangle here. It is a right triangle, but technically we didn't have to name it by angle, just by side, okay? You have this side that measures 8 radical 2. You know you have some kind of something going on with them being congruent, right? Because that's more congruent, which means that this is 8, right? Hands up if you said this is isosceles. Okay. Hands up if you said this is the left. Yeah, 9. It's 9. Hands up if you say scalene. Awesome, guys. Why scalene? Brianna.
Because there's no congruent sides.
There's no congruent sides. Why is this not congruent to this side?
It's 8 plus 8.
Yes. This is 8 from E to D. D to C is another 8. There's 2 congruent markings here. That means the entire side totals 16. This triangle has measurements of 8 radical 2, 8, and 16. No congruent sides here. Okay. And finally, the easy one, right? D, B, C. Super obvious. 1, 2, 3. You got it. Okay. All right, so let's move to talking about equilateral and isosceles triangles. So those bottom 4 we're going to get to. You can put it off to the side for the moment, though. So I actually want to start this backwards. I want to start with that equilateral triangle. You guys could just give me 1 second. Yeah, since